As soon as the late emperor passed away, the imperial concubine put on festive clothes. Ministers all scolded her for disregarding etiquette, but the imperial concubine did not hold back at all. Instead, she held the imperial jade seal and the late emperor's will, and went to find the empress in the middle of the night, wanting to conspire to alter the will and install a new emperor. The maid thought the two were crazy, but she didn't know they were more sober than anyone else, because they clearly knew that the first thing the new emperor would do after ascending the throne was to kill them. In her previous life, the imperial concubine used the power of her entire family to help her son clear obstacles and ascend to the throne as emperor. She also falsely accused the empress's lineage of treason, wiping out the empress's entire family of 9 generations. Finally, she used a cup of poisoned wine to get rid of this lifelong rival she had fought against for years. But just when the imperial concubine thought she would become the powerful empress dowager, her son suddenly stabbed a knife into her heart. Everyone was shocked by this scene, and the emperor said that she was not his biological mother. The imperial concubine was filled with disbelief. She had schemed for her son all her life, but she could never figure out why her biological son would stab her and say she was not his real mother. It turned out that the imperial concubine had given birth to a princess back then, but the princess was secretly swapped. She had worked hard all her life, only to raise a son for someone else. From the very beginning, she had been trapped in the late emperor's scheme. When the empress heard this, she felt extremely ironic. She and the imperial concubine had fought against each other for a lifetime, but in the end, both of them were just pawns of the late emperor. Filled with unwillingness and resentment, the two opened their eyes again and unexpectedly were reborn on the day the late emperor had just passed away. The imperial concubine thought of the fate of being tricked by the father and son in her previous life, and swore not to repeat the same mistake. The empress told the imperial concubine that she had given birth to a daughter. The imperial concubine was shocked, and soon realized that the empress had also been reborn. Although she was not sure if the empress would take revenge, she would never let the father and son's conspiracy succeed. Before long, the son broke into the morning hall with a group of ministers. When he saw the imperial concubine wearing a bright red dress, he was stunned on the spot, and the ministers also looked sideways in disapproval. But the imperial concubine put on an act, saying she had dreamed of the late emperor, who told her he liked seeing her in red. The son was about to refute, but the imperial concubine interrupted him. Then she threw herself on the late emperor's coffin and cried bitterly. The son felt humiliated and stepped forward to tell her to speak carefully. However, the imperial concubine was full of anger. She had been used by the father and son for years, and her biological daughter's whereabouts were unknown. Since they loved putting on a show, she would play along to the end. She pretended to be pushed and sat down on the ground with a thud. The son knew well that he needed to maintain a good reputation before ascending the throne, so even if he was unhappy, he could only apologize and help her up. At this moment, the empress spoke up, telling the son to take the imperial concubine back to the palace and ask the imperial doctor to examine her. Seeing that the empress was clearly helping her, the imperial concubine went to find the empress with the will and the imperial jade seal at night. The two immediately reached an agreement and decided to secretly alter the will to install a new emperor.